Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and today we have some Wizkids minis. These are the Orc and Dire Wolves. We got 7 of them today, so we're just going to do a little bit of batch painting, a little bit of speed painting. Before I start, I want to give thank you for subscribing, Dad. How's my dad? Okay, let me get back to what I was going to say. Oh, how cool. And thank you, Mokai, for subscribing. How's Mokai? Hope Mokai is okay. Okay, I've lost my train of thought now. Okay, so we're going to do these oh, that's right. I was going to actually give a huge shout out to Michelle. Michelle, because Michelle has made all these special little emotes for the channel. She's made the Goblin King emote, she's made the Moist emote, and she's made hey, Hell Yeah, I think it's a Hi Yeah or Hell Yeah emote as well. So I want to give a huge thank you to Michelle. Absolutely amazing artist, amazing friend, and well, just awesome, and thank you for doing that for the channel. It's much appreciated. You will be getting an extra miniature in your parcel. So I'll give a quick shout out to people in chat so far. Of course, we've got Michelle, we've got Scorpler, Scottish Andy, Ron, which is my dad, who is the Goblin Emperor. Mokai's in chat, Bull GM, Gareth's in chat, and I missed everybody else who's zoomed up the stream there. Okay, so let's make a start. What we have here are the Dire Wolves. These are quite old now, a couple of years old, from Wizkids Games. These are from the Pathfinder range of miniatures, which are awesome. Let me get some focus so you can see. This is a very nice miniature. And we're going to get these painted today. What we're going to do is do some fur work, and I'm just going to show you how to speed paint one of these little miniatures. Well, all of them actually, if we can see how far we can get in an hour. But what we want to do first is, I did say I wanted to make a boss. Now this one has a warped sword, so what we're going to do is we're going to swap out the swords, we're going to swap out the flag, we're going to add a shield and make him a dual welding. He'll have 2 swords, dual welding. No. Now what we have here is a little sprue. Now this is why you keep all your sprues from when you do your miniatures and your miniature painting. So you've got all these little spare little swords and little items you can add to your miniatures. So what I've got here, I've got one little shield. Thank you for subscribing, Scottish Andy. We've got one little shield, and there's some swords on here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out these 2 swords and actually stick it to this miniature. So we'll do that quickly first, and then we can start painting. So what I'm going to do is we're going to snip off this here, bye flag, and we're going to actually take off the handle and on the hilt here, just nice and flush. Oh. Well, that took off and nearly had someone's eye out. And we'll just do the same. We'll take it off the bottom there. Now what it is, I just want like a boss leader added to the band of wolves we got here. So what we'll do, we'll take these off, and again just snipping these out off the sprue. Doesn't take long to do, but like I say, when you get all these little sprues and you get the extra weapons, I mean, you can make lovely little conversions and just add things to your miniatures, and again that makes it more your own, which is a bit of fun. Okay, so we've got the 2 swords, 1 shield. Let's move this out of the way. Let's see if we can see what we're doing here. Of course, we're going to need to take the hilts off these swords as well. So we'll carefully snip that off. So we're just left with the actual sword itself. And we'll do the same with this one. There we are. So my idea on this one is to have him with 1 sword here. That can be glued onto that one. And one glued onto there. So we'll get some super glue, and we'll do that now. So a little bit of super glue on the top of the hand there. And what we can do, make sure that the sword is the right way around. And we'll just stick that onto there. Just hold it there for a few seconds, let that super glue set. That's one. And we'll do the same on the other hand. I'll just add this sword. Just hold it there for a few seconds. Hopefully it will set. Sometimes with super glue, you know what it's like. It can either set or it can be a little pain in the bum, and you're waiting for like hours for it to set. But this seems to be working today. So there we are. We've already done one instant conversion, and we got a double. I don't know if that's the right word. We got an orc with two swords instead of the one sword. And all we're going to do now is I'm going to stick this shield onto his back, like so. And then we've got our boss, and he's different from the rest of the pack. And it just gives him a little bit of variation and makes him stand out more from the rest. So what we can do here, let's have a look, should be simple enough. So a little bit of super glue on the back there. Just a tiny bit of super glue just on the back of his hair. And we can just stick that shield on an angle, like so. There we are. Let's hold it there for a couple of seconds. Hello, Nafe, and Scottish Andy, and Hamish, Goblin Squire. Oh, everybody's here again. So there we are. Simple as that. That's super fast, easy conversion. And that's just using spare parts from the old sprues from your miniatures. And it's a fantastic way to make a miniature your own, and of course make them stand out, especially if you're doing units. Like you said, we got the seven direwolves here, and so now we've got our leader for the pack. Absolutely awesome stuff. Now I have already given all the miniatures a dark brown undercoat, so what we're going to do is go straight into the painting of the fur and add in the different colours to these miniatures. Okay, so what we need to do first is I'm going to load up my palette with lots of paint, and today we shall be going for again, we're going some shield brown, these are MSP paints, so a nice drop of shield brown now. I'm going to leave the tops off because I probably need to use more. We've got some cork brown by Veleco. We've got the old warthog going in the background. Hello, Tal. So we've got a little lighter tan brown there. And we also want to have some graveyard bone. Graveyard bone. This will probably need to be cleaned out with a pokey stick. There we are. So we get some graveyard bone on the palette as well. And some dragon white. We always need a nice little bit of white so we can lighten up any paints as we go along. Pokey stick, yes. You didn't. I don't know if you was on the show, Andy. Well, it wasn't that long ago. I had my pokey stick out, and I think it was a Renegade Shank made me laugh while I was using the pokey stick, and I actually stabbed myself with the pokey stick. He made me bleed live. Okay, let's make a start. Let's get all this out of the way. Right, this is the brush I use for all my, because I have a lot of people, lots of people have been asking me what brushes I've been using. I'm using the Army Painter brush. This is an actual terrain brush. It's a huge brush, but it's great for doing what I do for these miniatures, and that is I speed paint. So it's a very nice brush that you can use for like dry brushing, and it just works really well for me. It's got quite a soft head on it, not too soft, but it's perfect for doing what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's make a start. Otherwise the owl will be gone. Let's make sure we get some focus so you can see what I'm doing on each one. And we're just going to fly through these. And first of all, we're going to start adding the brown. I'm just going to go over all the fur really fast. This is our first initial heavy coat of paint. It goes over all the brown areas of the fur. And as always, I'm using the paint to my advantage, and what I mean by that is I will not do the underbelly of the wolf because we want to keep that dark. So we're just painting all the highest areas, but this is the initial coat and it's the thickest coat, and then we can lighten that up, and the shade is kept below, like under the chin. But this is the initial. Just quickly go through all the fur. Absolutely awesome. Done. And again, so we'll go through this part first. We can get these all looking really nice, super fast. You could have a whole tabletop full of dire walls for your games, and you get them all done in a day, easy peasy. Now the good thing about batch painting, and this is why I do love batch painting, and that is by the time you get to the last one, your first one that you've just done should be dry, ready for the next application. So you can really just speed along and get your minis painted. When you do these miniatures, we always do our dry brushing first. Get the dry brushing out the way. The dry brushing, or this type of painting, I'm not going to actually call it just dry brushing because the paint is still wet. Dry brushing, you are actually dry brushing dry paint onto your miniatures. This is my way of painting, and it's super fast. It's definitely not super dry, but it works very well, and I've been doing it many years now. So we're just going to quickly carry on this brown. I think what we'll do for the actual main boss direwolf is we shall make his skin a little bit lighter. So we'll carry on with all the browns on this one, but we'll try to make that last boss direwolf just a little bit of a different colour to the rest of the pack of wolves. Tickle the wolf's belly. Shank's in the house. Hello, Shank. Like I say, I am speed painting today, so I do apologise if I'm missing any of the juicy gossip in chat. Got my concentration brain on today. Like I say, what I was talking about earlier, I've just remembered my train of thought. When you are doing your miniatures, always get the dry brushing or this type of painting done first, because it doesn't matter if you make a mess going on to the rest of the miniature. You can do your high detail after you've done all this. So what we're doing is just getting all the main fur done. We can even dry brush the body of the orc as well. We can use some nice reds and browns for that. And then we can actually go over with our normal paintbrush and start adding detail. Okay. Okay, so that's that one done there. Let's go back to the beginning. What we'll do is I will leave this one till later because this is going to still be a little bit wet with that super glue. I don't want to take that risk. So what we'll do, we'll finish off these fur on these dowels here, and so we'll just carry on with these for now and get these blasted away. So what we're going to do now, we're going into that cork brown. We're adding it to the other brown just to lighten it off a little bit. I'm just putting it on my tissue, taking the paint off, and we start lightening up and going over again. Just on the highest areas now. It's not so heavy as the last brush. As you can see, it's starting to pick out all the details on the fur, already looking fantastic. Super easy to do. Like I say, you can get all your orcs done in a day, a couple of hours. And it doesn't matter about making a mess because we're painting over the rest of the miniature. So what we're doing is just concentrating on that fur first. Hi, Rod. Who gets all these miniatures, are you asking? Well, some of these miniatures will be for the people on Wizkids tier on my Patreon, but I'll be keeping a few for myself. I might actually put a couple up on Ko-fi to sell on Ko-fi once they're all done. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I can't actually keep every single miniature I paint. There's not enough room in my house. Okay, Nath, marked. I'll put one into your package then, Nath. In your next package, I'll send you one of these dowels. No, not a problem. Thank you for subscribing, Ty. Okay, as you can see, already they're taking shape, and it's just doesn't take long to get some great looking minis on the table. Now all we're going to do is go back to the first one. We're going to use the graveyard bone. This is for the final highlight on the fur. This will be the lightest highlight, and again we're mixing that in with the cork brown this time. This will be the lightest effect we're going for. Oh, there's nothing wrong in being late. Nothing wrong in being late. Now for the last effect, this is very... I'm applying this one a lot lighter and on the highest areas. So we're just going across the highest areas. That's all we need to do. Top of the nose, top of the ears, top of the shoulders, the tail there. And there we are, we have a beautiful looking fur on the direwolf. Now I'll just quickly recap on this. As you can see, the dark brown that I've used to start the direwolf fur works so well as a shade for your miniature. What we're doing is we are building up the light on the fur by keeping the dark at the bottom. Then we've gone on to a darker brown and built the darker brown up, leaving the dark around the bottom, underneath the chin there, under the tail. Then we've gone lighter about halfway up, so you got the light going up the fur, and then for the final touch, just the top of the fur. So we've got this lovely dark to light effect going around the body of the fur, and this works in your favor, saves you a lot of time adding a shade. The paint has done the work for me here, and it works really well. So I always keep my miniatures so I can actually take advantage of the paint. I always say when I do a miniature, I'll be looking down for a light source, so I imagine the light source is shining directly down on my miniature. So the top of the miniature is going to be light, and the bottom, thank you for subscribing, James, and the bottom of the miniature will be dark. And if you remember that, and just imagine the light sources shining down on the top of a miniature, that's where you want your lightest point, and that's how I work my miniatures. So I keep all the dark to the bottom of the miniature, or underneath should I say, where the shadows lie. And then of course we can just work the top like so. So light at the top, dark at the bottom, and it works straight. Simple. Oh, by the way, I've the new giveaway, the new 600 follower give. If I get the 600 followers, if you can see right above me there, that's the miniature I painted on the last show. It's all finished. One lucky follower on Twitch will be sent that miniature once we get to 600. So I'm quite chuffed about how that came out. It's a really nice miniature to paint. But once we get to 600, that'll be the next giveaway, and I'll be doing that every single time we get to 100 followers. I shall be giving away another painted miniature. Absolutely awesome stuff. Now I'm still going to be doing the giveaway every single show for my patrons on a painted tier. Now all my patrons on a painted tier, they get a miniature chucked in with their box. It can be either a painted miniature or an unpainted miniature, but that's on every show. So if my patrons that are on a painted tier want to say give me a free mini, Claire will put you into the wheel of pain for tonight. Thank you for following. Okay, so as you can see, it's not taking me long at all, and that fur is already looking amazing, and it has started to make these miniatures look awesome. So what we're going to do now is going to start working on the bodies. The champion I shall leave for now. What we'll do is we'll carry on working with the 6. Now for the orcs, we're going to again go to the brown, but I think what we'll do is we shall put some gory red over the miniature first. Yeah, gory red, and then we'll go on to the chain. With the orcs, we tried to keep the colours, actually not that one, let's go for crimson red. We want dark colours. Orcs, you don't see orcs in bright colours. So we'll just work on the clothes. Casper Kenobi praying there. Please, it's been so long. I need a free mini. My life is empty. I need a free mini. Okay, we're going to go for a smaller dry brush this time. This is the large dry brush, and we're going to use that to just add a little bit of paint to the red. What we're going to do is just a tiny bit around the whole of the orc here, and we're just going to start adding that. It may look crazy to begin with, but trust me, I've done this so many times and it works really well. All we need to do is dry brush over all the areas of the leather on this orc here. Just being a bit more careful, we don't want to go on to what we've just dry brushed. So I'm just adding a rough layer of this red. So what's going to happen, see, that red will dry nice and dark, and then we'll add all the leather buckles, and this will be given a brown ink wash, and believe me, it all blends in. So all we need to do is just add that dark red, and it works with the brown. So we're just going over the legs here, just going over all the kind of body parts. We don't even need to be delicate, we just add this over all the fur on the body, like so. Like I say, it's speed painting. You get to learn all the tips and tricks, all the little shortcuts in painting. And if you can learn how to do this type of painting and make it faster, but also keep that miniature to a tabletop quality, you are really doing well. And you can get whole armies done in a day once you've mastered how the paint works and what's going to happen to that paint. Because that's the key to all the painting, is knowing what will happen and what that paint will look like once you've applied it to your miniature. Before you actually apply it to the miniature, you will know what you're going to be doing. Painting is all experiments, and it's also about having fun as well, so don't worry if you do make a mess. It's all a learning curve. All I'm doing here is just adding some red. It's going to work with that dark brown, see? Because dark red, dark brown. And once you start painting with the brush, it will really all blend in really well. You just got to go past that stage of it looking like a mess. There we are. One last one. Okay, that's all you need to do for now. Now to the next stage. Yes, crimson red, nice and dark. It works well with the dark brown, see, once that's dry. Now what we need to do is, because we've got that red on, we can start painting in the straps and the silver. So what we're going to do is, I've got some of my Vallejo silver, and I'm going to add that to my palette just here. If I've got some room, then you can go just there, a little bit of that. And put my lid back on. And now we want some, where's my leather? Shield brown. Yeah, shield brown. We'll go back with some shield brown. This will work well. This will be for all the leather parts on our miniature. We use the number 1 brush. Let's get this out of the way now. Moving a bit closer. And go back. I've lost which one I did first. Okay, so as you can see, we've got that red that's starting to dry now, and it's blending in with the brown. So we've got an initial colour. Now, I used to paint many Yokai from Games Workshop years and years ago. This is a super fast way of painting all your Yokai if you're into painting your Yokai. And it's how I painted huge armies of Yokai back in the day, back in the well, about 20 years ago. So we've got that red blocks. I'll try and speak. So all we start doing now is we going over all the leather areas, and very simply just picking up the leather areas. Doesn't take long. Okay, so it's just a tiny bit on each one actually. So I'm just going again to the straps. Just go down the straps. Just the top there. And the belt. We're trying to keep all the colours quite similar, so we're using lots of browns, dark reds, dark browns, and they'll just help it all to work together. It's a little bit strappy. 1 second. Just yes, it doesn't really matter which colours. I know I say different names on my pots. It's actually easier just to say I'm using a dark red or dark brown. The trouble with having so many companies like Vallejo and MSP and Games Workshop is they all have different names for different paints which are identical. So it's actually easier for me to say we're using a dark red or a light red. Maybe I should do that in the future. I don't know what would be easier for you guys and girls. Is that in focus enough? Can everybody see that okay, or does it need to be a bit more in focus there? No, be special. Okay, Vard, I will. Okay, I will. No worries. Yeah, okay, no worries. I'll do that. I'll stick with what I'm doing then. I will stick with what I'm doing. Not a problem at all. So as you can see, we add in the brown. If you see what I did with that red, you saw I just applied that red very simply by dry brushing across the whole of the miniature using that dark brown, and it's working because now we're adding those straps. The back has blended in with that red, and it just gives a fantastic effect to the miniature. And as you can see, it's the whole pack of minis coming along beautifully. Like I say, once we get these straps on, painted I mean, sorry. So we'll just work our way around the straps, and we can go to the next stage and add a little bit of silver. Like I say, it's a super fast, easy paint today. You should all get these miniatures done in a couple of hours if you're following along. Tal, you're special. You're special, Tal. We, you know, we understand. Yes, they're nice with the banners, aren't they? What I'm going to do with the banners is I got some of the old water transfer sheets, so I'll paint the banners in like purples, dark purples, or maybe some dark reds, and then we can just add some simple transfers onto there, which will really make them look nice. Okay, last one for the 6 here. Then we can move on to the silver. Good. Okay, so that's all our straps done. So I'll just move on to the silver now. Okay, so as you can see on this miniature, he's got some shoulder pads there, he's got some silver and some skulls. So what we'll do is we'll just add the silver to the miniature, the shoulder pads, just do the top of the shoulder pads. Like I say, when I edit this video, this Twitch stream, and I will upload it to YouTube, I will upload it with the completed miniatures on a 360, so you can see exactly what they look like once they are finished. I always like to add a finished video of the work I've done, and show you a 360 of what I've done on the show. So we're just going over all the places now with a little bit of silver, buckles, a little bit of buckle there, so we just go across there too. Now for the skin of the orc, we'll just go with a dark green. Hopefully I'll get to that in a second. I'll just quickly get the silver parts done, and then I'll show you the skin of the orc. Again, super simple to do. For the bases of the miniature, of course, I will be adding some sand to the base, and I'll use PVA glue for the base, and then I'll add that sand. So we're just adding the silver again on the buckles, the straps, the kneecaps. He's got some little so. You can see he's got the seat there. What we'll do is we'll go over with some black on the saddle. So we'll do that in a second as well. And of course we've got ink washes to add. Ink washes will make everything look absolutely amazing as well. Hopefully if we have time I can show you the ink washes on this as well. I don't know what time it is now actually. What time are we on? Yeah. Right, I'll try and speed up a little bit more so we can get a little bit more done before we finish the show today. So just quickly get these done. I tell you, time flies when you're having fun, that's for sure. I do apologise, like I say, if I'm not speaking too much tonight. When I get into the zone, when I'm actually doing fast speed painting, I do find it quite difficult to keep looking up. So I do apologise if you're like, talk to me, or if I've missed any questions. I do watch my Twitch shows. I do watch my Twitch shows back after they've been done. So I do read everybody's comments in chat. So please don't feel like you are missed. I do see what everybody says. And once again, I want to thank every single one of you for supporting me on the channel. It's been incredible. I'm very, very happy. It's been just fantastic for me. Okay, so we've nearly finished all the silver parts. Like I say, we're just going over the buckles and the kneecaps there. There we are, absolutely awesome stuff. So there we are, it's almost looking absolutely fab now. Let's see if we can get better shots so you can see what I'm doing. Starting to look awesome, eh? Okay, let's get a little bit of skin tone onto our orcs. Excuse me. I am actually going to use some mossy green, which is a nice dark green. If you are confused, we've got some turf green. I think dragon. Where's my dragon green? There we are. We've got dragon green. That's so it makes it a bit easier for you guys who are looking for the right colours. Dragon green is quite dark, so we'll use dragon green as the main coat for our orc skin. Oh, pokey stick. And a little space in the pot. There you go. Now, what I'm going to do as well is we got cat's eye green as well. This is a nice bright green, and it's one of my favourite greens. So we'll put that onto the palette as well, because then we can kind of mix them together. There you go. There we are, same brush. Let's start with the first one. I'm getting confused now which one I painted first. So with the orc flesh, we're going with that dark colour first. We just go over the hands, over the fingers first, and over the actual head of the orc. He's got some little ears at the back there, and we just follow the, and just here. Good. So we've just added some green there, simple as that. That's our first initial green. So we'll go through the whole of the faces and the fingers with that green, and then we can add that lighter green on top then. With the swords, by the way, what I'll do with the sword is I shall paint the sword black, and then I shall dry brush the sword silver. Another hot day today. We've had a bit of cooler weather. We had a little thunderstorm the other day, but it didn't actually make the air much more breathable than it is already. It's quite stuffy. Okay, nearly there. Well, we're doing well tonight. We've got quite a good amount of paint onto these miniatures. I'm very happy about that. I do like to get a speed paint going and see how far I can push myself in an hour. I think it's a bit of fun for me, and it's good for you guys and girls to see what can be done in such a short space of time. And hopefully when I'm painting and you see that I can see that I've been painting all these miniatures in the hour, it'll give you inspiration to paint your miniatures as well as. Okay, so we've added that first initial green to all these orc riders. What we're going to do now is go onto that cat's eye green. But what we're going to do is a 50-50 mix. So I'll just show you my manky palette over here. For the next stage on the face, we've got that nice dark green, the dragon green. And what we're going to do is mix in some of that cat's eye green, because otherwise it'll be a little bit too bright. But this cat's eye green, just a little mix in there. There we are, a little bit more. That's the way. That's perfect. Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning, our first orc. Now all we're going to do is pick out the highest areas, like on the top of the nose, on top of the cheeks, and the chin. And the same with the fingers, just quickly go across the top of the fingers. It's just a quick highlight to add to the orc. Top of the ears as well, just a tiny bit on the top of the ears. Like so. I don't know if you can see that okay. Maybe I'll do it closer. 1 second. Let me get another one and get some focus in for you guys. I'm sorry if the focus is rubbish. Let's see. There we are. That's a bit better. A bit closer. Okay, so what we're doing is, there we are, top of the forehead. I'm just trying to squeeze in here now. Just a little bit on the top there, on the top of the nose, cheeks, and around the mouth. That's all you need to do. And on the fingers, top of the finger, top of the finger, top of the finger, top of the finger. The same on this side as well, just on the top of the fingers. And then we're done. Once that dries, it'll blend in with the other green. Absolutely awesome stuff. So we'll quickly zoom across those ones. I'm blurry again. Oh, my focus is terrible tonight. There we are. Right. Now what I want to do before I finish tonight is I want to show you the brown ink wash that I add to the miniature here. This will really bring out and blend in all the bodywork we've just done on these orcs. So I'll just finish off the second highlight on this flesh here. Very simple. And then we can add that ink wash. Okay, perfect. Right, this is where the brown ink wash comes into play. Now we've got a choice. We can either go for a light or a dark. It's normally best to use a dark ink wash. Now I have got some Agrax Earthshade here. This is the Agrax Earthshade, of course, from Games Workshop. Now for this we shall need our cotton buds. So we got our cotton buds here, and we got our ink wash. We need to have a little wash brush. What shall we use for the wash brush? I did have one here. Excuse me, I'll use this one here. Now, for the ink wash for the orc, we are going to add the ink wash to every single part of the orc. We want the brown also on the silver because we want that silver to look old and worn and tarnished, and the brown ink wash will do that. So what we'll do is we'll add this ink wash to here, and we'll even go over the face of the orc as well, but let's just get it to the body first. just be careful when you add an ink wash. You don't want it to pull, so we just go over all the areas. Let the ink wash do the work for you. Just go over every single part of the orc, all the clothes, hair, the whole of the miniature apart from the wolf. So we're over the skin as well. Let that go into the skin. This will give you all the highlights you need on the face, and it'll give you dark eye sockets as well, and then you can paint the white for adding your eyes to your orc. Now what you can do is with your cotton bud, you can just take away a tiny bit of the ink wash on the top of the armor plating, and a tiny on the top there, tiny bit on the top there, and the top on this one. Now we've got to let that dry. Let's make sure we got it all in. But as you can see, that's looking absolutely fab already. Once that's dry, it'll look even better. Now, what happens with the ink wash, that will blend all that the red that we added earlier on the body, and it'll blend that in with the brown. And I'll show you again. Again, just over the whole of the orc. Only the orc skin. We're not painting the actual direwolf, we just add in the brown to everything else. Just let the brown ink wash do some work. And again, we're adding the brown ink wash over the face now, because that will go into all the recesses and the eyes and give it a nice shade, which lets you paint in those eyes afterwards. Again, removing a little bit of the ink wash, top of the buckles, just to give a little shine. And we're good to go. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so we just do this to all our little orcs over all their armor. With this ink wash, it gives a lovely shade to all the belt buckles as well. It's just works so well. If you've never tried ink wash, it will enhance your miniatures 100%. I use it all the time, and it just really is an amazing thing for your miniatures. If you don't use ink wash, then that's your own that's your own fault. But I highly recommend it. Totally highly recommend it. Again, we're taking off the ink wash from the tops of the silver, highest areas, of course. Okay, we've got 2 more, and that'll be us done for the evening. I hope you are enjoying the shows that I'm doing. I'm trying to make it so hopefully somebody will learn one thing on each show or get some helpful advice, and I hope people find my shows informative in some form or way. There we are, last one. Awesome stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, just remove the last bit of ink. And there we are. There we are, exactly 1 hour on the dot. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me just give you a quick 360 of one of the miniatures and do a quick recap of what we've done. So there we are. This is today's miniature. It's 90% finished for painting wise. I think it came out fantastic. Very fast, quick, easy paint. I hope you found this enjoyable. What we've got as well is we did the boss miniature. I did a little conversion. I've taken away the flag and the sword. I've added 2 swords and I added a shield to the back. So he'll be the leader of the pack. But there we are. A simple way to do some fur for your wargs. It could be wargs actually. For your direwolves. And there we are. Absolutely awesome stuff. I hope you enjoyed. I am absolutely roasting, and it's time for me to say goodnight to each and every one of you. Thank you all for subscribing and following the channel. I will be back on Monday, where we'll be back doing some Reaper miniatures work. And I shall see you all then. So take care everybody, and thank you so much for popping on to see me.